for the most part, I look through it and I'm like, damn, do I need this? Because if I need it, I'm not getting rid of it. And I just say, let me tell you, because like I've been living in this house now for a while now, over 13 years or somewhere around that. And I still had stuff I never unpacked. So, hello?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I was looking at a bin. I got a bin full of towels,
See, because like I said again, even your house is not a
big
house.
towels, little towels. I remember I was working at the grocery store, and when they marked all the towels down, I remember I bought tried to buy every last goddamn towel they had. But anyway, I think I am going to lay down, take me a little nappy nap, a little nappy nap. See what my scarf is
Like I say,
in my hair. Now,
take the load off.
take me a little nap. But I was a lot. Mhm.
The other lady told me, she said, I can just never take back your mind from. She was saying,
Oh,
what's
so
it?
yeah. What kind?
The lady, the health crazy.
Oh,
I shouldn't have been doing shit. If everybody's doing something healthy, I guess they ain't doing weed, they got some kind of herb that they use and with some mixture. Oh, some like people need that weed, smoke that stuff. But I already told you, the reason why they put weed on top of the chart as the one drug is because of what that drug is not being a drug do for them to say it's a drug. They don't like what it do. And guess what it do? It say it's a drug. It cools the mind down. Motherfuckers don't go fast on weed. Motherfuckers go slow. Motherfuckers always thinking about what they doing too. There you go. What you doing? That's what it's like the alcohol. Alcohol rush your fucking brain. Alcohol will make you want to go fast. It's gonna be thinking about it. You go with the force. But that speed. But see, everything is that I'm explaining to you shit I've been through. Been through. That's why I told you, shit. All these old shitty ass movies they got that they just rerunning over and over and over and over again. Man, I got the shit that I have been through. I got them new movies. I got them new movies. One of the names of the movie would be How Hot Wheels Survive. How Hot Wheels Survive after Katrina. How Hot Wheels went from Morgan to stupidity. After talking about how many people he knew that was on drugs and how much he could never be on drugs. The next thing you know, he was on drugs. So he learned the valuable lesson about never getting up. So you got a certain time you want me to wake you up? I said, you got a certain time you want me to wake you up?
what's that? Uh, yeah, just I'll just take a little nap in the house.
I keep trying to kick my other character out of this session. All I'm trying to just dealing with people tonight. And you hear me. You hear me. Somebody just wrote up on there, they hear me.
Yeah.
I said, somebody just put on there that they hear me. I said, the thing moved, but y'all can't hear me. Because I would hear me on my phone.
Well, maybe they is.
They ain't supposed to.
Okay, with this weird stuff, maybe they is.
They sure said they do. Fuck that, I'm glad to get over here.
Oh, Lord.
See, why that quiet my house don't get peace? Boy say, yeah, I do. And then when you say that there, he say that there, I say, you know, yeah, maybe he wouldn't have said that if you didn't. Okay. Nobody listen to me talking. If they listen to me talking, I mean, if they listen to me talking, they'll laugh. They do not see with me talking. And nowadays, see that AI and AI, man, he saying some shit. And I ain't never did even see that shit. That's that. Ain't gonna time these people playing again about with all that bullshit. Because they do it. So, yeah, all that shit they got going on. But John plugged in, you know, John ain't tight. Caught up. I wish they just leave Dallas country fucking home, man. Shit, cause I'm like, 4 years that y'all trying to teach the dude first fucking 4 years he got elected. Now the man that got here again with us or showing y'all country fucking steps. Niggas can get it, get that fucking road straight. Even straighten that border out. Now y'all won't bring all the fucking people back that we done deported and give them time in court. Bitch, you know how many years that's gonna take in court? How much money we gonna have to pay for that shit? I just don't know how we ain't petition all these assholes to be fired. They work for us. They work for us. How we ain't going? Fuck this shit. Get your ass out of here. Because we got a nigga corporate captain, whoever the fuck he's supposed to be. It's cold. It's cold. They try to kill my boy, man. Try to kill my boy. Try to kill him too. See, these people don't know what they're doing, man. They kill this dude after donkey. They don't want that. Burkina Faso, that's the name of that place. Burkina Faso.
Yeah, worth over $88 million. Você sabe também a questão que eu parecia que eu falei sobre a coisa. So why is Burkina Faso trusting Russia with its gold while cutting ties with the West? Let's find out.
It's like I said again, they be saying all that bullshit about Russia. Russia this, Russia that, Russia this, Russia that. Man, you go look at the Russian people and how the Russian people don't feel that way. You hear me? Russian people don't feel that way. And Tucker Carlson went to Russia and had a motherfucker meet with what his name is Putin. Had him meeting with Putin. And then Tucker Carlson came back here. So they did Tucker Carlson too, huh? Kicked that nigga straight off of Fox. Tucker Carlson came back to tell us exactly what was going on in Russia. Tell us exactly how much Russian food is cheaper than ours. They got shopping centers and shit just like Russia was not like the Russia. These bitches be lying to us and telling us what Russia look like. Man, Russia look just like here. Do you hear me? All this old. Oh yeah, that's back to that one.
And the good thing I was able to go up. So you gotta stop.
is not burdened by the same colonial memories that France is, and Burkina Faso's young leadership, particularly under Captain Ibrahim Traore, is betting that a partnership with Moscow might offer more favorable, less exploitative terms. Whether that bet will pay off remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: Burkina Faso is no longer waiting for Western permission. The granting of the NEU site wasn't just an economic act, it was a declaration, a subtle but potent push to a global system that has for too long treated African nations as chess pieces. The fact that this decision came shortly after Burkina Faso, alongside Mali and Niger, quit ECOWAS only amplifies the symbolism. After severing ties with a regional bloc seen as too cozy with Paris and Washington, Burkina Faso is now forging a path where traditional alliances no longer dictate the internal policy. Nordgold's entrance into NEU is also significant for another reason. It shows that Burkina Faso's new rulers are not afraid to bring in foreign partners, but they will choose those partners carefully based on mutual survival, not colonial legacy. In many ways, Russia's growing footprint in West Africa is less about expansionism and more about opportunity, filling the void left by an arrogant and increasingly resented West. The NEU project also reflects a deeper domestic calculation. Captain Traore, having come to power promising sovereignty and real wealth for Burkinabe citizens, needs victory, tangible victory. He cannot afford to be seen as another leader mouthing slogans while letting outsiders loot national treasures. Delivering large-scale revenue-generating projects without bowing to IMF austerity, World Bank preconditions, or ECOWAS interference is critical to sustaining both his legitimacy and the revolutionary spirit that propelled him into office. Yet there are risks. Nordgold himself has faced allegations of opaque practices in other African states. Russian firms, like their Western counterparts, are not cherished. They pursue profit. The key difference is that for now, Russia is perceived by Sahelian leaders as a geopolitical counterweight rather than an imperial overlord. A balance Burkina Faso must strike is delicate, maximizing benefits from Russian partnerships without swapping one form of dependence for another. As bulldozers begin to tear into the needy soil, extracting gold dust that may determine the future course of a nation, one thing becomes clear: Burkina Faso is no longer just mining for wealth; it is mining for freedom. Whether this newfound path leads to prosperity or new pitfalls remains to be seen. But make no mistake, the ground has already shifted. Here, the question is, why this deal matters so much for Burkina Faso. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue. The world sees gold and immediately thinks of wealth, markets, numbers. But for Burkina Faso, especially now, gold has become something far more powerful and far more immediate. It is no longer just a source of revenue. It is a weapon in the war for sovereignty, a silent battle for dignity. Gold, once a glittering curse that drew colonizers like moths to flame, now sits at the center of a new kind of liberation struggle. Captain Ibrahim Traore and the military leaders around him understand this better than most politicians in the West, perhaps because they have no choice. In Burkina Faso today, control over gold means control over survival itself. That's why the NEU license granted to Nordgold must be seen not through the narrow lens of mining contracts, but through the far wider lens of statecraft. Burkina Faso is not simply selling minerals, it is trying to buy back its future. It's important to understand that Burkina Faso is fighting multiple wars at once, and only one of them involves gold. Since 2015, the country has been under siege from insurgency, with vast rural areas slipping out of government control. In many villages, gold mining, artisanal, dangerous, often illegal, became the only source of income for desperate communities abandoned by both the state and international donors. Insurgent groups understood the value of gold almost instinctively. They attacked mines, seized smuggling routes, and extorted local miners to fund their operations. In some regions, the fight for gold is more vicious than the fight for identity. Whoever controls the gold controls power, weapons, recruitment. For the new leadership in Ouagadougou, this reality changed everything. Gold was no longer just about boosting GDP or paying civil servant salaries. It became the bloodline that could either strengthen a fragile state or fatally bleed it dry. Handing over the Neo mine to North Gold then is part of a much larger strategy to formalize, secure, and nationalize the flow of wealth so that it strengthens state authority rather than fueling rebellion. The mine operated under strict agreements, paying fixed revenues into government coffers, infinitely preferable to dozens of shadowy, serpent-tax artisanal sites operating beyond it. In this sense, EU is not just a business venture. It is a defensive fortress, a claim of ownership not just over the land, but over the right
Now
to
you see what
define
we go
Burkina
through.
Faso's destiny. But there is a second, even deeper layer at play, the psychological war. For generations, Burkina-based citizens grew up hearing the same cynical story, that their riches would always be stolen, whether by colonial powers, multinational corporations, or corrupt elites. The land was rich, but the people were poor. A brutal paradox that bred fatalism, despair, and immigration. By aggressively asserting control over new mining fields, and by choosing partners like Russia, who are seen as challengers to the old Western order, Traore is trying to rewrite that story. He is offering the youth something infinitely more valuable than gold bars. Hope. A vision where Burkina Faso can keep what it produces, chart its own economic destiny, and stop begging foreign powers for aid masked as charity. There are echoes here of Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso's revolutionary hero of the 1980s, who once thundered that he who feeds you controls you. Today, Traore's government seems to be operating by a similar principle. He who mines for you owns you. It's not a coincidence that gold overtook cotton as Burkina Faso's top export during the very same years when political instability spiked. Cotton, a crop that requires stable governance, infrastructure, and long-term investment, suffered in chaos. Gold, by contrast, can be dug out of the ground with a pickaxe, a shovel, and a Kalashnikov. It is the perfect commodity for both insurgents and governments alike. Fast, flexible, and fiercely contested. What Burkina Faso is attempting now is to move from a gold economy of survival to a gold economy of sovereignty. That is a perilous transition. Formalizing the gold sector risks alienating small miners, some of whom survive outside of any regulatory system. It risks attacks from armed groups who see formal mines as high-value targets. It risks pushback from international watchdogs and NGOs, many of which accuse Russia of resource exploitation elsewhere. But it also offers a chance to build something that has eluded Burkina Faso since independence. An economy that serves Burkina-based citizens first, rather than external shareholders. The Niu mine is only one piece of that puzzle. It is a bold experiment. Can a nation once stripped of its wealth now use that same wealth to buy back its freedom? If it succeeds, the story of Burkina Faso may not just change, it may inspire the entire Sahel. Now let's talk about history. If gold is the lifeblood of Burkina Faso's new economy, then influence is the silent weapon shaping its political survival. The Niu mining deal with Russia's Nordgold was not just about extracting metal from the ground. It was about shifting the entire center of gravity in the Sahel's geopolitical war zone. In the modern world, facts speak louder than speech, and the ink on Burkina Faso's mining licenses is now beginning to redraw alliances in ways that even bullets cannot. For decades, France was the unchallenged power broker across West Africa. In security agreements, currency controls via the CFA franc, and network of elites ensured that Paris' shadow fell over every major economic and political decision made in the region. When Burkina Faso's earlier government sought military aid against insurgents or financial help for infrastructure, they turned to France, the World Bank, or ECOWAS bastions. Aid came, but with strings tied so tightly that sovereignty was little more than an illusion. That era is done. By offering Nordgold a major stake in one of its richest unexploited mining zones, Burkina Faso has made it clear. It is no longer operating under the unwritten rulebook designed in Paris or Brussels. It is drafting a new code, one where Russia, not France, stands at its side, at least for now. And Moscow understands the stakes perfectly. Russia's strategy in Africa is not based on building vast colonial administrations or sprawling foreign bases. It is based on something far simpler and, in many ways, far more durable: loyalty earned through survival. In countries
This summer could be your $1 million moment. 3 more Lucky Rewards Club members will become millionaires during our biggest giveaway of the year. Get a link to it all at Choctaw Casino and Resort Arena.
And now Burkina Faso, Moscow has stepped in precisely where Western support collapsed, offering security partnerships, military advisors, and unrestricted economic deals. Burkina Faso's pivot to Russia is not accidental. It reflects a calculation that has been brewing for years, that when survival is at stake, ideological purity is a luxury no leader can afford. Captain Ibrahim Traoré and his government are not naive revolutionaries dreams of Cold War grandeur. They are pragmatists navigating a chessboard where every piece has blood. The new license is part of a larger mosaic of moves. In parallel to mining agreements, Burkina Faso has deepened military cooperation with Russia, signing defense pacts that include intelligence sharing, arms delivery, and joint training operations. These agreements, often sealed behind closed doors, are designed to fortify the junta not just against insurgents, but against any external threat that might seek to destabilize its rule under the banner of restoring democracy. And here's the irony. While Western governments loudly decry coups and authoritarianism, their years of broken promises and conditional aid did more to create the conditions for Traoré's rise than any Russian plot ever could. In the dusty towns and battered cities of Burkina Faso, people do not ask whether Moscow's presence upholds liberal values. They ask a simpler, harsher question. Who is willing to stand by us when the guns are pointed at our homes? France left. ECOWAS failed. Russia arrived. The new gold deal, North Gold at EU, and earlier, North Gold at EU, are the economic cement that binds this emerging political alliance. They ensure that Russia's stake in Burkina Faso is not just ideological, but material. The profits from gold mining tie Moscow's interests directly to the survival of the Burkinabe state, and vice versa. In a world where alliances based on ideology crumble with every election cycle, alliances based on shared survival are harder to break. Critics argue that Burkina Faso may simply be trading one foreign master for another. But on the ground, the perception is different. Many Burkinabés see the Russian partnership not as a submission, but as a correction, a realignment that places Ouagadougou in a position to negotiate rather than beg. Of course, such a gamble is not without risk. Russia, like any major power, pursues its interests first. If Moscow's attention wanes, or if internal challenges in Russia divert resources away from Africa, Burkina Faso could find itself exposed once again. Moreover, dependency on a single partner, even a more sympathetic one, carries its vulnerability. But for now, the strategy is clear. Burkina Faso is fortifying its house with Russian bricks and Burkinabe mortar. Gold flows, guns are loaded, and new maps are being drawn, not with speed, but with contracts and cargo. And the question that haunts every Western capital from Paris to Washington is simple. What if it works? What if, despite sanctions, isolation, and dire predictions, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger succeed in building a new bloc, fueled by their resources, defended by non-Western partners, and immune to the old puppeteer strings of the global order? In that case, the new gold mine would not just be a site of extraction, it would be the spark that lit a revolution far larger than any battlefield victory. A revolution not of ideology, but of independence. So, the real story of Burkina Faso's North Gold deal doesn't end at the new mine. It doesn't even end at the Russian defense treaty or the exit from ECOWAS. Those are just opening moves. The true stakes are bigger, much bigger. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's government isn't merely trying to survive the next year. They are quietly testing whether an entire solution for Africa is possible. It's a dangerous, breathtaking gamble, and everyone is watching. At its core, Burkina Faso is betting that sovereignty can be rebuilt, not through slogans or endless appeals to global sympathy, but by controlling the most brutal forces that govern the modern world: money, security, and resources. Traoré is wagering that if this country can command its goals, defend its soil without foreign invasion, and negotiate partnerships on equal footing, then true independence. The dream so many African countries proclaimed at the waving of flags in the 1960s but never truly achieved, might finally be within reach. But building this model is like crossing a battlefield blindfolded. Every move brings danger.
The truth
First,
makes sense.
there is the economic challenge. Burkina Faso's reliance on gold is a blessing and a curse. Gold provides fast revenue, but it is a volatile resource. A collapse in global prices could devastate government budgets overnight. More dangerously, an economy rooted too heavily in one commodity is fragile, vulnerable to manipulation by external forces, whether Western sanctions or Russian overreach. To truly make gold a tool of freedom rather than a chain of dependency, Burkina Faso would have to invest aggressively in diversification, agriculture, manufacturing, and energy. That transition will not be easy, and enemies both inside and outside the country would love to see it fail. Second, there is the security reality. Striking deals with Russia might bring arms, training, and intelligence now, but Burkina Faso is still bleeding under insurgent attacks in its countryside. Winning battles on the mining front doesn't automatically reclaim lost villages or restore faith among terrified populations. A gold mine protected by mercenaries is not a substitute for state legitimacy. If the government cannot extend real services, schools, clinics, jobs, beyond the cities into the war-torn periphery, no amount of mining revenue will save it in the long run. Third, there is the regional blowback. Burkina Faso's withdrawal from ECOWAS, alongside Mali and Niger, set off alarm bells across Africa. Some countries sympathize quietly, seeing in the alliance of Sahel states a possible future of self-rule. Others, especially coastal states still deeply tied to Western systems, see it as a dangerous contagion. If Traore's model succeeds, it could inspire similar uprisings elsewhere, shattering the fragile balance of African geopolitics. If it fails, it will be used as proof that Africans still need Western oversight, reinforcing the very chains Burkina Faso is trying to break. The fourth, and perhaps most dangerous, risk is internal. Revolutions are easy to proclaim but hard to govern. Today, many Burkinabe are willing to endure hardship for the sake of reclaiming dignity and autonomy. But what about 2 years from now? If jobs haven't materialized, if violence spreads, if the promised fruits of gold wealth are delayed by bureaucracy or corruption, popular patience, even when fueled by patriotism, is not infinite. Traore's greatest threat may not come from Paris or Washington or Moscow, but from the anger of his people if expectations outstrip delivery. And yet, despite all these dangers, there is something undeniably electrifying about what Burkina Faso is trying to do. In a world where most nations drift helplessly between superpowers, here is a small, battered country in the heart of Africa, daring to withdraw the line, daring to say no to old masters, daring to bet on itself. The new mining license, seen through this lens, is not just about gold. It is a test of whether true sovereignty is still possible in the 21st century, whether a resource can be harnessed without surrendering to the corporations that circle Africa like vultures, whether security can be built without becoming a client state, whether a people, long robbed of their destiny, can reclaim it by grit, by force, and by ruthless strategic calculation. Burkina Faso is walking a tightrope where every misstep could be fatal. But every step forward also lights a path that others might one day follow. If Traore can transform gold wealth into real development, not just mining towns with roads, factories, and schools, he will have done more than resist Western pressure. He will have built a template for African Renaissance that no amount of media smearing or diplomatic pressure could erase. It will not be easy. It may not even be fair. The obstacles are immense, the dangers many. But for the first time in decades, the question facing Burkina Faso is not whether it can survive under someone else's rule, but whether it can win by writing its own. And for a people long taught that their fate was decided elsewhere, even that question itself is already a revolution. Do you think Burkina Faso will fail? Will Traore let Burkina Faso fail? Let us know in the comment section. Will Western threats stop Traore? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about, the Black culture